back to my YouTube channel. This is Life of Lamage. So I am just leaving the hospital, so I'm sorry I look a mess because anytime I go I throw in anything, but I just left from getting one of my infusions and I felt like now was the perfect time to tell my story as far as my journey with my fibromyalgia. So fibromyalgia basically is a autoimmune disorder that attacks your immune system. I was diagnosed back in 2011. My son was about 6 months old when I first started getting side effects. I slowly started getting pains throughout my body. And I woke up one day and I could barely walk. I felt like I was basically pulling myself through the house in order to get from one place to the other. Of course, being that I had just had a baby, me calling my parents or anybody else, everybody wants to say, oh, it was just, your body recovering from having a baby, you're fine. Then you have the people that's like, oh, your potassium is low, drink some orange juice. Oh, your iron is low, take some iron pills. But it never went away from home remedies. So I made a doctor's appointment and they checked my blood work and my antibodies are very high in my body. So first I was diagnosed with neuropathy, which is a nerve issue. I had to wait quite some time in order to get an appointment with a rheumatologist, and I actually now see one of the best ones in the city, thankfully. Like I said, the first doctor, he diagnosed me with just neuropathy, but as I got with an actual rheumatologist, he was able to do more in-depth blood work and different tests on me, which we found out that I actually had the fibromyalgia and the underlying rheumatoid arthritis. It started off manageable, but they had already explained to me as I got older it would get worse, and it has. Now, the first doctor, I've seen multiple doctors, but the first doctor actually told me, oh, at this rate, the way your antibodies are in your body, you'll be in a wheelchair by the time you're in your 30s. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for informing me of that. Let me prepare myself. But I am now 32 and I'm still not in a wheelchair. So we have went through a series of different medications that we have tried out to try to get it under control. And unfortunately, until now, it has been a struggle to figure out what's what or what's best for me. Now, I started off, like I said, on several different medications. None of them worked, or if they did work, they would work for a very short period of time. My last medication I was getting was called CIMZIA. Now, CIMZIA is 2 injections. I was going every 3 months to get injections in both my legs. The worst pain ever from a shot. First of all, the thing is, oh, my nail is broke. Ugh. First of all, the thing is about this long with medicine, and it's a slow injection, meaning that they can't just do it like a regular shot. It has to be injected very slow. And in the beginning, it does not hurt. It's just like a regular shot. But as the medicine gets to the end, the pressure actually builds up, and it is the most excruciating pain ever. And just think you have to get one in each leg. I do mine at the same time just to try to get the pain over with as quick as possible. But once COVID hit, it was hard to get my injections. So I actually went a very long time without them. But I was going every 3 months to get them. Over time, those 3 months ended up having to be shortened to like literally once a month, because that's how fast my medicine would wear off and that's how quick my pain would come back. So my doctor was basically having to go through the motions of trying to figure out what's going to be a more long-term medication for me. So we eventually did a lot of different searching or whatever, and now I have begun infusions. So what I do is I go to the hospital and I do outpatient. I don't have to stay overnight or anything, but I do outpatient infusion where I get hooked up to an IV and I get my medication pumped through an IV basically. So far, my first infusion was last month, and it helped tremendously. I had very minimal pain. It's still there. It's way more manageable than it was. I just did my second one today, and now I go back in December. So now I should go every 3 months again, and we're going to see if that works. So far it does, and I'm so thankful for that. But anybody with fibromyalgia knows it's not only is it a painful thing to have to deal with, but it's also hard to deal with it when no one else really understands the pain that you're describing. Because the thing about it is, I have fibromyalgia and rheumatoid. Rheumatoid is when my hands will swell throughout my body basically, and I've now just started getting it in my face. So I would actually end up getting like my jaw would hurt like so horrible. I would go like 2 to 3 days without even eating because it hurts just that bad. Fibromyalgia, on the other hand, it's inside, so you can't really see it. So it's kind of harder to explain your pain when people are like, I don't see, like, I don't get it, you know. So the symptoms of fibromyalgia, beside the pain, is extreme fatigue. So I go weeks feeling very sluggish. I can't do anything, and it's nothing I can really do or take. It's almost like zero energy, and even taking something for energy does not help. It causes anxiety, it causes depression. It comes with a number of side effects that affects your daily life routine. I've had days where I'm thankful for my family, because they've basically been helping me with my youngest baby. My older one is kind of old enough to kind of take care of himself, but the baby isn't. So I've had days where I've had to call them to get them from me because I can't do anything. My hands will swell to the point where I can't move them. I can't open anything. I've had to call family members over to the house just to open bottles for me because I can't. I will probably say my most extreme case was after I gave birth. So when you get pregnant with fibromyalgia, you have one of two things. Your body's either going to go into remission or you're going to go full throttle. For me, my body kind of went into remission because I didn't have as much pain. But the thing about it is, once you have the baby, all your pain comes full force. So basically that's what happened. So once I had my baby and I was staying with my parents at the time, but I actually was in a rush to get my own place. So I rushed out with a newborn and a 7-year-old at the time and got into an apartment. So I can say the worst thing was I woke up in the middle of the night and my baby was crying for his bottle, and I tried to get out the bed and I could not walk. My feet were hurting just that bad. So I had to crawl myself to the kitchen. Finally got myself to the kitchen to get his bottle, and unfortunately my hands were just as swollen. I could not open his bottle. It is 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. At this point, I don't want to call anybody to come over to my house just to open a bottle. So I stood in the kitchen and I cried for a good 10 to 15 minutes, just boo-hooing. I felt defeated. And I just kept trying. And y'all, I finally got that cup open. I had to struggle to get the milk open for him. It was terrible. And I finally got his cup, crawled myself back to the room, picked him up, and I'm feeding him while I'm still crying because it's a miserable, miserable feeling. It's very draining. It's very, very draining. I think over time, because I'm a mama, I just was able to deal with it more. So I'm just like, I'm going to have to get through it, cry through it, whatever I got to do to keep it moving. But I do know now how to handle my flare-ups. They're called flare-ups. I know how to handle my flare-ups more. I know in advance, hey, I need somebody to come over here and open some stuff for me. You know, if I can't do it on my own. Otherwise, well, you know, just coming with pain, it causes your pressure to go up. So I have a lot of times when my pressure will shoot up, I will end up with very bad headaches until I get it under control. As of right now, from research, they say they don't really know the cause of it, but they think it's like from an injury. Mine was from childbirth. I was very small when I got pregnant. So basically I had permanent damage from giving birth. And I have just been dealing with it ever since. So that is basically, you know, how my journey has been. Y'all, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. It's miserable. It's so miserable. Like, even on days where I'm like, I want to go out and do something, I can't. And I try to push myself to do it, but I can't. It's just that miserable where I'm just like, oh, forget it. For anybody else who's dealing with fibromyalgia, you're not alone. I am here with you. So yeah, I know your pain. By all means, if you have any home remedies that you use to help with your pain, drop it in the comment section. I would love to read them. I have researched everything. We have tried everything. Turmeric tea, I drink that on a regular because that's supposed to help. But then at the same time, certain herbal teas you're not supposed to drink because it messes up your fibromyalgia. I tried one for energy, made me sick as a dog. Never again. And something else, unfortunately, that fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis is linked to is lupus. So every 3 months, I also have to go get new blood work so that they can track whether or not I will eventually get lupus. Now, so far, all of my blood work has came back negative, but I have started getting actual signs of lupus in my face. So I'm not sure if y'all are aware of what they call the butterfly rash, where you get right under your eyes and right in the middle of your head. It's shaped like a butterfly, and you break out into that rash until your medication kicks in and helps. And that is what I've started getting. I can tell when my medicine is wearing off. Basically, I will, right under my eyes right here, will get really, really dry. and have like a small, like fine bumps will break out here, and it'll get right here in the middle of my forehead. So I have the signs of lupus. I just not have actually had it show up in my actual blood work. So as of right now, like I said, I still have to go get tested every 3 months just to make sure. I'm gonna continue to pray that it does not turn into full lupus, because that is not a good health condition to have. But other than that, yeah, like I said, I just left the hospital. I just thought that I should make this video really quick just to give you a look into my life. I've been dealing with it since 2011. I ended up going back to work, and I worked for 2 years, and I struggled through it, and eventually I had to stop working. I ended up using up all my FMLA at work because that's how bad it was. I haven't worked since 2014. Just been at home with my kids and going through the motions. And yeah. So I will do updates as I go along. If I do any kind of medication changes, if I do any kind of new routines. I love exercising, and I'm hoping I can eventually get back to doing that. That is one of the main goals I have for. If I can get to at least work out 2 times a week without flaring up, I think I will feel accomplished. And that is what we're working on getting me back to. So yeah, I'll give you updates as my journey continues. Anybody else with fibromyalgia, by all means, drop it in the comment section. Let's talk it up. I would love to hear your story, and also any kind of home remedies that will help. Until next time, this is Life of Life.